All righty. Thank you, Marissa. Welcome, everyone. We're live. We're here. It is the Boozy Book Broads, and it's our December episode. It's the last Boozy Book Broads of the year. So I guess we could start off right away with a cheers. Cheers, everyone, because this is very exciting. Oh my gosh. Do you even have a glass?
Which one should I use? The nice or the naughty? Nice or naughty?
I think based on that, you need the naughty one.
The naughty one.
Right from the bottle. Yeah. All right. So that's Melanie already causing problems. We're also joined by Angelina M. Lopez, and I am Danielle Jackson, and we are here to chat about 2021, the year in romance that was 2021. So before we dive into our fun chat, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We want to, of course, remind everyone it is a special time of year, but head to lovesweetarrow.com to see what they still have available. I think shipping, probably you're not going to get stuff right by Christmas at this point, but it is still important to support all of our independent booksellers. We love them so much. They do so much for authors and readers everywhere. So definitely head there to check out to see what they have available. Due to some scheduling changes, so some of you may have seen a little blip earlier this week. We got a little ahead of ourselves, but Maureen Lee Linker from Entertainment Weekly has a very glamorous life, and she set off to London on assignment for Entertainment Weekly. She's literally like landing in her plane right now, and it is what it is. So you're stuck with the three of us, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And we will give an update later because we are rescheduling with Maureen. So she is going to join the Boozy Book Broads in the new year. Angelina is our room mom tonight. She is going to be keeping tabs on the chat. And we, of course, at the end of every Boozy Book Broads night, we choose a lucky chatter. I always say chatters, but that's always really close to like not a nice word. But anyway, one of our lucky viewers, how about we go with that, will win a $10 Love Sweet Arrow gift card. So the more you chat, the more opportunities you have to win with that. And finally, last bit of housekeeping, the merch of the month this month, Love Sweet Arrow wants to feature their Moonlight Ridge trilogy boxes. This was a Harlequin Desire continuation series. So 3 different authors all wrote in the same trilogy, and they're all related. They're very fun. Harlequin Desires, of course, are always very kind of over the top, a little melodramatic. They are on sale this month for $24 with the code BBBDEC 2021. And these books are by Joss Wood, Karen Booth, and Reese Ryan, a former Boozy Book Broads guest. And there's lots of fun goodies in the box as well. So there's a lot going on. But we that is the housekeeping I wanted to get through. I did introductions. What's everyone drinking tonight? Who wants to go first?
I am drinking some really uninteresting sparkling water because I'm in the middle of revisions that should have been in Wednesday. My lovely editor said I could get them in Monday. So when I get off here, I'm right back to work. So it's not as much fun as the holidays, but it does mean that getting that done before Christmas means I'll get to enjoy Christmas. So I'm super looking forward to that. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm the same, and I don't drink while I'm in revision mode. So it's sparkling water. Sometimes I'll pour the water in a wine glass to feel fancy.
Yeah.
I am drinking actually. So this is from Trader Joe's. It's the Ugly Sweater. It's a red blend. And my husband picked up a bottle the other week, and I'm not usually a red wine drinker. I'm an occasional red wine drinker. And I really liked it. So I bought 3 more bottles.
Awesome. You're set. You're ready. And then I am just drinking some Prosecco tonight. I thought tonight was a good night to pop open a bottle of bubbly. So this month I'm doing something different, and we're skipping the shots and we're going straight to the full bottle because I feel like we have a lot of things to talk about. Mm-hmm. So let's jump right in. We're going to talk about our favorite books of 2021. I know there were a lot to choose from. I think we should each pick pick two, maybe three. Maybe I'll let three slide in there. But so let's have Melanie, you go first. What were your two just fave books of the year?
So obviously this is so hard. It's like, and it's such a, because this is such a weird year. Like Alicia Rye was like posting about, and like, yeah, like you forget, like, yeah, her book came out like her last book came out this year. Like it just feels like the longest year ever. Anyway, so I really enjoyed Denise Williams' How to Fail at Flirting. I think that it was an unexpected best for me because I was very nervous about the content. She's excellent about her content warnings on her website. And so I was really I was not in the mood for anything angsty or deep or heavy. And I read it anyway because I wanted to read it because, Denise was our guest last month and I really wanted to do that. And I was unexpectedly pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. So How to Fail at Flirting was great. The banter was fantastic. The love scenes were super well done, steamy and hot. And the HEA was incredibly believable and well earned and well won. And so just, she earned I already loved her to begin with, but she earned, not just as an author who I appreciate as another author, but as a reader, she's earned me as a reader for life. So that was a favorite of mine.
Amazing. All right, Angelina, how about you?
Okay, so she picked my book. So I'm like, well, what's so funny is I picked that one. And then I was like, you know what? I'm really going to talk up a book that came out before in 2018, but only because I think what's happening with trends, it's important to talk about. So now I'm trying to find my brain is completely blanking out on what I read in 2021. And I know I did. I know there was reading involved. Okay, I'm going to come up with that later. But the one I was going to recommend and again, this is kind of weird because it's from 2018 and it is Maria Vails' The Last Wolf. And the reason I bring this up is because monster romances, we're going to talk about trends in a little bit, but monster romances are so huge. And hers is wolf shifter werewolf kind of thing. Yeah. But they're so literate. I mean, she makes such a literary book and yet is willing to go balls to the wall bonkers, is willing to do things that there was a point in the book that I had to stop and put it down. And I had done a panel with her. So we had each other's emails and I had to stop and I had to email her like, holy crap, I've never seen this done. I've never seen it done the way you did it. And it was like 2 a.m. and she was up and we were emailing back and forth. But I think with the onset of like the monster book and how popular those have become, Maria Vail, if you've not read the Last Wolf series, and it wasn't this, I think that first book really set her on the map, but it wasn't like a New York Times bestseller or whatever. I think it's a great book to go back to in terms of kind of like, who were those predecessors in kind of that monster format, shifter, and how do you do the world building and how do you do the community building and who's doing that really well? And Maria is it's just a phenomenal book. So again, I'm kind of breaking the rules of the best book of 2021, but I think it's a good way to set yourself up for entering, I think, the monster wave that I think is not going to be going anytime soon.
I'm not swimming in that pool yet. I have not jumped.
And I think it does count because it was new to you. So
yeah, I think that's the key, right?
Thank you. I was like, oh my God, you took my book.
Okay, so one of my faves this year was actually a short story collection called Love and Color by Bolu Babalola. Bolu Babalola is a screenwriter in the UK. She is her parents were African immigrants and they moved to the UK. She lives in London. She's a screenwriter. She just writes tons of articles. She's very cool. Follow her on social media. She's great. But this short story collection is stories that are based on myths from all over the world. And she has kind of rewritten them. And some of them are set in the present day. Some of them are set in Africa, in the UK, and they're all recast with Black main characters. So it's taking these myths and giving them the Black, very UK perspective, but they're really interesting. They're gorgeously written. I can't if someone was like, pick your favorite one, I wouldn't be able to. They're so good. And what's even better to know is that she does have a full-length novel coming out next year. I really feel like she is an author to watch. So I highly recommend Love in Color by Bolu Babalola. Mm-hmm. All right, so that was fun. So Angelina, you gave us a little bit of a preview of what my next topic was going to be tonight, and that is trends that we noticed in 2021 in romance. I actually wrote an article for Fresh Fiction that went up today. I'll find it while everyone's chatting and put it in our live chat. But yeah, trends that you noticed in 2021. Angelina, you started talking about monsters, the monster romance trend. So whenever you're ready, please elaborate some more.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, people were really, there was a lot of push for, I don't want to read about the real world. There was an interesting, I think, juxtaposition of super, super real world contemporary books. I would think The Fastest Way to Fall is kind of one of them, where it was just like it's very much in the real world of, real world issues and real world situations, real world technology, all of that, and how those things conflict with this, I mean, really over the top monsters books. And it's like I'm blushing at saying the word milking. Like, just.
I still have everything I know about that book I learned from TikTok.
Mine too. Like, I haven't read it either. There was a book out called someone help me with something milking farm.
Morning. I'm going to say this. My mom is watching. Morning.
I know, Mom. I'm so sorry. But it became this huge phenomenon book. And and I haven't read it either, but what was so fascinating is how people were saying it was so sweet.
Yeah.
So complete contradiction of what you expect out of that title. And that's what I think people are playing in the same romance space we've always played in, which is like, let's talk about all these emotions and how entities interact, but let's put them in these wild scenarios. And I think we've been living in a surreal world anyway for the last couple of years, that I think people are willing to, explore that more in kind of the monsters books. And yeah, no, there's not a lot of it's in an indie space. And that's not a space I read in either. So I can't really give Rex. I don't know if anyone, I guess the question here would be, has anyone got a monster book out there that they really love? But I think this idea of monsters voices monster books are.
Well, it's been around. It's just not been in the romance. Like, tentacle porn is not new. Like, it's
no.
Yes,
but the fact that it's getting deals and that it's moving into a more trad space.
Yes, and expanding as well. Expanding like what is involved. So my only experience with it was Anita Blake, I think. I'm trying to think of. There's the Merry Widow. It was a fairy series. She also had like a vampire series, but then was the fairy series, the Merry Gentry series. And that was my first experience with like, oh, there are a lot of extra appendages here.
I mean, it has been really interesting to see the way this has moved along, and how I would say there are certain readers of romance who are like very into this, and I think now can talk about it, and they have other people. I think, Jenny Nordback of Wicked Wallflowers and Melody from Heaving Bosom started the Bonkers Romance podcast. Fated Mates did an episode about this with Jenny as well. I mean, so if you want a deep dive with people who are a little more well-versed in it than the three of us, those are two places to go. Because I feel like I'm like this about it. I'm just like, am I gonna go there? I don't think I am.
And I think, Danielle, though, that is a point, though. It's starting to be able to have these conversations about it. It's starting to be able to talk about it online. It's starting to be able to, in your social media groupings, having these conversations, which is what 50 Shades did for romance, right? It was suddenly like, we all read these, and whether you were a fan of that book or not, nobody can take away that it was this watershed moment in romance where suddenly people who hadn't been reading it were reading it. Suddenly people were actively talking about it, and there were book clubs with it. And so that same thing is happening, maybe I am too. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm like, a bit of a prude about the whole thing. Some of the readers, Janelle Kamlick said it's definitely moving more into the mainstream. It's the Mary Gentry series. That was my first experience. Raven J said Monster Books, The Lady of Rook's Grave Manor by Catherine Moon. Raven J has also been reading everything from the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by Edie Holton to the Bergman Brothers by Chloe Liesel. Yeah. So there are some good recs in the chat.
Melanie, did you notice any trends?
Well, so Paranormal, we talked a little bit. So we touched on this a little bit earlier in the year in a couple of episodes. So definitely an uptick. And again, this is also part of the escaping the real world, escaping reality. And I think that's very much what has led to, you see this escalation of magical realism, paranormal kind of trends that are coming into the more mainstream focus again. Lots of witchy stuff. The X Hacks was was super cute. And there's a bunch, and it's not something that I'm seeing going away, because I love a lot of 2022 titles also are Not the Witch You Wed is one that I can think of off the top of my head. So lots of those again, like just kind of escape, and I love that stuff. Like that's so I'm hoping, I have some stuff in the back burner that I would love to get to as well, that I think I just think it's fun. I think it's fun in the beginning to get to play in that world again, and playing that not as just it's that craving for not the real world.
Mm-hmm.
What I noticed what I noticed in India as a side trend, and I found it by accident, was there is this like huge, and I found it so Dorinda Jones, who is an author, she had the very popular Charlie Davidson series. Speaking of paranormal, she wrote like an indie trilogy betwixt, like it was kind of magical realism, and so it led me down this rabbit hole. There is like this kind of quite extensive indie genre of middle-aged magic romances. So like of women discovering they have magical powers when they go into menopause. And I was like,
oh wow.
Tell me more. So it's like, but it was like, I like, whoa, did I go down a rabbit hole? But that's very much an indie thing. And so I may be having some fun in that arena under a pen name.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So for the trend, are you ready? Okay. So the trend that I want to talk about is girl gangs, or like really like solid groups of friends in romance. I've noticed this. I know. I've kind of noticed this. It's not that's it's like, like seeing like sisters or brothers or cousins or there's still families that are the basis of a lot of romance series, but I've also just been noticing a lot more where the friend group is really kind of the heart and center of the novel that really kind of like moves people along. I know, Melanie. But so there were a few that I did want to actually mention. So the first is Bombshell by Sarah Mclean, which is a literal girl gang. They are a group of women who are taking down the patriarchy, one pompous aristocrat at a time. And it's a lot of fun. I think the Bombshell was a really great starter because you kind of meet all of these different characters, and you're starting to already see how they're going to pair off, but each one of them has a different speciality. They all work together, and they all are like, and there's the Duchess, who we don't even know her name yet, but she's the mastermind like behind all of it. It's really cool. Another one is The Boyfriend Project and the Hookup Plan by Farah Rashan, which of course started the meat disaster, and that really is about the friends. It's not the meet cute between the two main characters. It's how these three women, they're all being duped by the same guy, and they all think they're dating this one guy, and he's lying to all of them. And instead, even 10 years ago, all of those women would have been fighting over that guy, but instead they're like, wait, he sucks, like, and we're awesome, let's be friends. And that's how they become friends. So that's really cool. And then I do want to give a shout out to Melanie in both of your series that have come out. They're the girlfriends, they're lifelong friends, or they've gotten to know each other really well.
Very central to the story.
Yeah, central to the story. They move the plot along in really fun ways. So yeah,
I feel like happy endings are about more than just finding the like, you know, kind of more of a well-rounded.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're in the chat. They were saying, it seems like there are a lot of paranormal and fantasy romances moving into mainstream. Janelle says that there's a group. Paranormal women's fiction group on Facebook. Janelle's part of that. She said, we, the women who are 40 and up, have decided the 20-somethings can't handle their stuff, so it's up to us to magically save the world, which is pretty much awesome.
I'm done writing about 20-somethings. After this book is done, I'm all sick.
Yeah, it's really, really great. Robert asked a great question. He said, what do we want to see more of? And what, you know, maybe if it's not a trend, but what are we hoping to see more of in 2022? Or what is everyone, you know, in chat too? What are people? Yeah. I think mature, you know, they're calling mature over 30, or 30 and over is mature in romance. But I think that's something that people want to see more of is, you know, grown ass people.
Well, I don't think that's the exact terms to use, but yes.
Yeah.
People that have got their, you know, yeah.
I think I want to start seeing, and you're starting to see this, I want to see more diverse small towns.
Naima Simone.
And I know someone on this panel has a book set in a diverse small town coming next year. And
I'm like tearing my hair out over it a second, but no, it's going to be great. It's great. It's a great book. It's fine.
Angela, I've always wanted to ask you this and I never had a chance. Did you choose the house on Milagros? Is it a call out to House on Mango Street? Was that on purpose?
No, it's after hours on Milagros Street. No, it's just
after Milagros Street, but my brain immediately connected to House on Mango Street.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't know if that was like a subtle thing you did on
No,
purpose.
not at all. What's so funny is that it's a bar. It's the family bar on a street that was originally named Miracle, and then all of these Mexican immigrants really took over this area and they changed it to Milagro. And it's kind of been you know, the wealthy part of town is like, ugh, Milagro Street. And, you know, they've really embraced it. But what's so funny is it's the first title that I picked. Like all of my rest of my titles were by my editor. And they, you know, and I would send them suggestions, but they never picked them. And it was I had one, and that was it. I sent it after I was Milagro Street, and they were like, we tested it, we did it, all the stuff, we love it. And I was like, oh no, don't pick. That was terrifying. I was like, don't pick my title. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, oh my God.
So Robert is asking, yes, she has a small town romance coming out next July, right? Both of you have July releases.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to break the rules, Danielle. So sneak peek into 2022. In July, we are going to have a big old book party to celebrate both Angelina and Danielle, who will be having some major book releases that month. They're kicking off new series. If you did not see Danielle's cover reveal, you need to go look for it.
Yeah. Well, so this actually leads nicely into the next question, because I wanted to talk about anticipated 2022 books, and not to put pressure on Melanie, I was just going to go ahead and say that Angelina and I have books coming out in July, 1 week apart. It's like very like kismet. I think that's so cute. And so I
feel like the odd man out because my book was out this July.
Well, it'll be like the 1 year anniversary of your book too. Okay.
That's so fun.
But yeah, After Hours on Milagro Street comes out July 12th, and my debut, The Accidental Pinup, comes out on July 19th. So we got that out of the way. We don't have to talk about it. Well, Angelina, do you want to do like your elevator pitch? Like, what's your real short, quick pitch about your book?
Oh yeah, sure. Definitely. So the whole series, the Milagro Street series, it's going to be a 3-book series about 3 sisters who come home to save the family bar. So the first book is about the middle Mexican American sister and black sheep who returns home to claim the family bar and find this East Coast head in a cloud professor standing in her way. And so it's opposites attract. It's a just one bed scenario. They end up being rooming together on the second floor of the bar. Not rooming together, but like rooming next door. There's definitely a magical realism element to it. It's found family. It's, reclaiming your family, reclaiming home. And that was much longer than an elevator pitch, but I'm super excited. The ending has been hard. I don't know. I'm like wrestling into shape, but I'm super excited about this book. Yeah. And then Danielle, I have been like your book. I've just wanted it for like a year and a half.
We got to see Danielle's cover like a long time ago. And it's been so long.
You did. I showed it. I was like, I have to show people this cover. But yeah, so quick. I have to say, I have worked on my elevator pitch, you guys, like the former publicist in me. I was like, you got to have this down. So The Accidental Pinup is about a plus size Black boudoir and pinup photographer who, for romance reasons, finds herself in front of the camera instead of behind it. And the photographer that they hire to take her pictures for this national lingerie ad campaign is her biggest professional rival. And shenanigans ensue.
Where did I read the blurb? Where did I read?
It was on Fresh Fiction.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
I'm gonna go find the link. I'm gonna find the link to that blurb because it's so good. Oh my God.
So Danielle, the next thing we have to do is I have to convince you to go with me to Vavoom Pinups, my favorite Chicago pinup studio, and get you to do a photo shoot there.
I know, because I know like the number one question I'm gonna get is like, have you done boudoir photography? And I'm be like, no, I just did a lot.
You have see, and that's so I did it when
I'm gonna do it.
When I turned 40, I did it as a gift for me, but also as a gift for my husband. And the thing is, so if you go to Vavoom Pinups and you go to click on the calendar, I am their calendar. You get 12 months of Melanie.
Oh, you're famous. Okay, so we talked about our books. Let's talk about some other books that we are looking forward to. I made you two both go first already, so I'll go first this round. I have two books that I'm really looking forward to, and because of my day job with Fresh Fiction, I've actually already read them, which is very exciting. I know I'm bragging. The first book comes out in February of next year, and it's actually a nonfiction book, but it's called Black Love Matters. It's by Jessica P. Pride. She edited it. It is a collection of essays by Black romance writers who are all talking about the moments that they felt seen in the romance genre. It's absolutely incredible. I've read it. All of the essays are really great. It's everyone from Jessica herself. She's also a co-host of the When in Romance podcast, to Beverly Jenkins, Jasmine Guillory, Chensia Higgins, and just across the board. So it's everyone who they write historicals, they write contemporary, they write queer romance, they write interracial romance. I mean, it's really special. Everyone, like almost every essay I was like looking at and I was like, this is me. No, wait, this is me. And this is me too. So it was really, really cool. I cannot wait for it to come out. And that comes out in February. And then the second book comes out in March, and it's called In a New York Minute. It's by Kate Spencer. Kate Spencer is the co-host of Forever 35, which is a really popular podcast. I highly recommend that as well. But beyond it just being like a really cute kind of rom-com opposites attract story, with a really funny, like viral, like someone like live tweets this interaction that these two people have on the subway. It's hilarious. But beyond that, it's also a love letter to New York. I lived in New York for a few months in college, and I finished reading this book and I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to New York next year. I don't know when, and I don't know how at this point, but I'm going back. This book made me want to just go back to New York. So highly recommend those two books.
I realized I should have been typing this down already, but your Rex, and that's Jessica. Is that Jessica Pride?
Yeah, Jessica
Pride. That
in there. Yeah,
Pryde, right?
Pryde. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Yeah, now I've got thumbs up there. Yeah, that was super rec.
Thank you. Okay. Melanie, how about you go with an anticipated book?
So one of the books I'm most looking forward to, and it was going to be out this year, but with everything, it was bumped to next year. So I believe that the release date is now in March, and it's Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma, and it is the first book in a new series, which she calls it like Shakespeare meets the aunties, kind of series. So it is a retelling of 10 Things I Hate About You, which is my favorite rom-com, which is based off Taming of the Shrew. So it is a retelling of Taming of the Shrew, but the cover is a take on the movie poster for 10 Things I Hate About You, and it is just fabulous, and I cannot wait for this book. So that I'm looking forward to that one. I'm also looking forward to the first of Adriana Herrera's historical romance.
Melanie!
Are we? Am I stealing again? Well, because as soon as she announced those books, I was like, I cannot wait for these books. It's the World's Fair in Paris, and it sounds so good, so good. So I cannot wait for that as well. Sorry to steal.
You both have great.
I'm writing it down.
We just have good taste, and we just share, that's all. Yeah. And of course, I cannot wait. I mean, July is going to be like bonkers, because it's going to with both your books out. Cannot wait.
Yes, no, I am super excited. Well, Adriana Herrera's comes out in May, and definitely go check out that book, Caribbean Heiress, because there's no cover yet. And she's like, come on, Publishers Weekly just did books of 2022, and hers is one of the top.
Your book was featured, Angelina.
It's really, the thing is that's been happening is that, we want historical happy endings about other cultures. And what's happened historically is that people not of those cultures may have written romance in those spaces, but a lot of times a lot of the conversation is about how difficult it was to be a person of color in the past. What Adriana Herrera and also Liana de la Rosa has also got a Latinx historical coming out, but I don't think that comes out until 2023. She's got one coming out with Berkeley, but both of those books are by people in that culture who are writing really, really well researched in that culture about people of color who are happy in that culture. So Latinx women who are happy and thriving and having these incredible experiences. I think Adriana's second book in that Caribbean era series is going to be female, I'm pretty sure. And it's rum plantations and just, this fascinating history. So Liana de la Rosa and Adriana Herrera are both people who are working in the Latinx historical romance space, and I cannot even wait to read that. Angie J. Christopher's book coming out is Thank You Next. I'm reading it right now, and it is and I should have finished already, but I haven't, and I'm got to get to it. But it is about a single divorced attorney who one more time has her ex-boyfriend immediately propose. She sees it on a reality show. He immediately proposes to the next person in that he dates. And so she goes around with this guy she grew up with, who's now this up and coming chef, and interviews all of her exes to find out what the fuck, what happened, what could be different, or how do I stay away from relationships? She's a very not necessarily missing these people that she left, but more about how do I avoid falling in love with somebody ever? And so how did she get it right, i.e. wrong, in all of these relationships? And so it's kind of this romp around LA, and it's really, really phenomenal. I don't know when that's coming out, but it's Thank You Next by Angie J. Christopher. I need to write those down.
I'm really excited about that because the concept reminds me of the movie High Fidelity, but it also, I'm really excited to see Andy's take on it because she is so funny.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
I do a fun little, Danielle, we probably should redo yours.
Yeah, we need to redo mine.
So I have on YouTube, on my writing list YouTube, I have a series called Kiss List Confessions, and it's where I interview authors of kissing books, and we talk about kissing. And Andy's interview was, hilarious, aside from all of the photo bombs of her dog. But the talking about so we talk about first kisses and favorite kisses, and it's so much fun. But I just was thinking about that because like she was one of my favorite interviews just because it was hilarious. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
sorry, side plug for Kissless Confessions, which will become a podcast in 2022 as well.
awesome. That's good to know. All right. So let's move on to our next kind of section. I'm gonna call. I was like, what do I call this? I'm a writer. Cool. Anyway, our highlight.
No, I like words right now are just like my brain just like mushy.
Yes, I am also revising as well. So I'm gonna say that's what the deal is. But yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about our highlights of the year. And I thought we could go 2 rounds and we'll do a professional highlight and then a personal highlight. And it's whatever you're really comfortable sharing, however you want to frame it, whatever you want to use that as. So, Angelina, let's start with you. What is the professional highlight for you this year?
Oh, wow. Professional highlight. I think I'm going to talk quick and do 2. I finished a series. It was my debut series, the Filthy Rich series, my debut series, and Serving Sin was the 3rd book in that series. And just having wanted to be a writer for so long and having a series and having it finished was just this really phenomenal moment. I wrote Serving Sin during a pandemic. I wrote a lot of Hate Crush, the 2nd book. And so I think any of us have been putting out happy endings during a pandemic is just, I was very proud of that. The second thing is I just was released a part of an anthology. It just came out on Tuesday called 12 Naughty Days. And it's super erotic. Robert Zimmerman asked about it and asked what my other favorite story in it. So it's 12 stories that are about the 12 days of Christmas. We took the 12 days of Christmas and made it super dirty. 12 authors made it super dirty. And Sierra Simone, her story takes that very...
You can buy it on audio.
Excuse me?
You can buy it on audio.
Oh yeah, you can buy it on audio. Yeah, you can buy an audiobook. Sebastian York is one of the, and we all are donating all the proceeds to the Trevor Project, which is a suicide hotline for the LGBTQ plus community. And so all of the authors and all of the audiobook narrators all donated all of our time for the audiobooks and the stories. But so Robert Zimmerman asked what my other favorite story is, and it is Sierra Simone's story, which takes that very interesting Folgers commercial where the older brother comes home from West Africa and his like teenage sister says like, "You're my Christmas present." And they share a look that's just strikingly weird. It's so Sarah wrote a step siblings story that is just flaming hot. So, but yeah, that book is it's an Amazon bestseller. It hit the #1 list for romance anthology, romance collections, all of this stuff. And we've already raised like, I don't know what we're supposed to say, but like a ton of money for the Trevor Project. I've never been a part of an anthology like that before, and I'm super excited. So I'm very proud of that because it's raising really a lot of money for a really good cause.
I keep thinking about that one drummer I sent you on TikTok. Whenever I think there was like this, I don't even know what it was, but it was like really hot. And I'm like, okay, so is this your book? Like
the anthologies are super like, it gives you an opportunity to like do things that you get to experiment and play.
Yes,
and so yeah, in a way that you can't in like a full length.
So I actually have, so these are the 2 anthologies I've been in so far, both holiday anthologies.
Yeah.
Jingle Balls and Tinsel and Tatas. These are the print copies. I had to get at least one of these. They're freaking Bibles. But these were both charity anthologies as well, both USA Today best-selling books, which we raise money for different charities. And next year we're going to be raising money for I don't think we've announced officially. We've picked our charity, but I don't think we've announced it officially yet. But yeah, but the anthologies are a really fun experience, a chance to play and a chance to have fun and to do something good for a good cause.
Yeah. Yeah. So Melanie, do you want to talk about your professional highlight of 2021?
So this has been a weird year. Like, it's just been a weird year. It was exciting to have my trade paperback debut. That was cool. I don't know what I would consider to be like my highlight. So I did have, okay, so this is silly, but I had like soft personal author goals, like things I would like to see happen just for myself on a marketing standpoint. And I hit them both. I hit both goals. I wanted to have 500 members in my Reading Lushes group, which we hit. If you're not a member of the Reading Lushes yet on Facebook, come and join us. We talk about cocktails, we talk about books, whatever floats our boat. And I'm doing 5 days of gifts next week because we hit 500 members. And then my other goal was to hit 1,000 followers on BookBub, because it's like supposed to be like this thing that if once you hit that, things start happening. I don't know. So that happened as well. So these were just like kind of like, oh, that would be nice if those things happened, and they both did. So ta-da, soft goals met. If you're not following me on BookBub, follow me there too. Well, plug that. Follow all of us. You should be following all of us on BookBub. BookBub is where because BookBub is a safer, happier place than Goodreads.
Yeah.
So BookBub is where I usually will post my personal reviews of books that I've loved. Yeah.
So for me, my professional highlight obviously is like, so I knew about my book deal in 2020, but it wasn't announced until January of 2021. So it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool that was when the book deal was announced. And then in December, I got to reveal my cover. So it like bookended 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, I know you had to sit on that cover reveal for so long. You're so patient.
I know, I really did. And it was just one of, I think it's going to sound weird, but Berkeley is a part of Penguin Random House. They're the biggest publisher in the world. And it's just, they have a schedule, and it's like, you get
worth the wait. And Lenny, so Danielle's illustrator is Lenny Kaufman. Lenny Kaufman is freaking amazing. She did all of the covers for Olivia Dade's releases, spoiler alert, and all of them. And I that's a bucket list item for me, is to have Lenny illustrate a book for me. I just love her work so much. And if you go to Lenny Kaufman's Instagram page, she posted like an early sketch of an idea of what the cover might look like. It's super hot, so make sure you go check it out. And I'm still gunning for Danielle to make this like a pre-order. So.
I mean, I may or may not be in conversations with Lenny Kaufman about things to do, like, but I also have till July. So
yes.
All right. So now let's take things to a different, side of the spectrum and talk about personal highlights, just anything. It could be something fun. I'll go first this time. I want to say that this year I learned the importance of saying no to things. I feel like in 2020, especially because things were so fraught, for lack of a better term, I said, I did a yes to everything. I was like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can meet this deadline. Yes, I can do, 8 interviews in a month or whatever for Fresh Fiction or something, anything. I'm kind of making stuff up, but that's not too far off. And this year I really took the time to I think set boundaries and really figure out or work on my own self-awareness about how far I want to push myself, how far I can push myself, and the importance of just saying no to things, or I think knowing when to say no, but also knowing when I can push myself and say yes to something, and how I want to, work through all of that. So that was a big thing for me this year. All right. So who wants to go next?
Melanie.
I feel so we're talking about personal successes.
Personal highlights, successes. Yeah.
I think a personal highlight for me is that we got one kid through school and into college. We have a college freshman. She just came home yesterday from her first semester. That was huge. I think it was especially in this time that we're living in, and getting through all that and that process. So that it's and honestly surviving and maintaining a relationship with my husband, despite the fact that we're living in the same house and working together. He's been working from home now for over 20 months. I said I was working. I finally got back into a workout routine the other day, and a Pink song came on, and it was the song is "Just Go Away," and it was like, this is my theme song for 2021. It's like go away for a little while so I can miss you. So go away, and then I will want to kiss you. Just go away. I'm like, it's my theme song.
Oh, that's awesome. It's been so fraught, and I think it's more fraught like right now. It feels more fraught right now because of revisions and Christmas and blah, 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 blah. I like really, this is like so shallow, but I lost 30 pounds in 2021 and I was like so happy about that. Like I probably like somewhere like now I've lost 20 pounds in 2022, but like I was just really glad because I was telling like I had a coach for a little bit and I was like, the things that were comforting during the pandemic stopped being comforting. Like I was stopped being comfortable with those things. And so yeah, pulled back and definitely feel a lot healthier as I've been doing nothing but sitting in the chair for the last month revising. So yeah, I was very happy about that and know that this 48-year-old body can still like learn new habits and change some stuff. So that was
so cool. That's huge and awesome. And thank you for the both of you. Thank you everyone for sharing that. I do want to take a minute and just remind everyone in the chat, if you've ever wanted to ask the broads a question, you can ask it now. This is your opportunity. Because usually we kind of, the chat really focuses on our author guest or whoever our guest is that month. So yeah, so if you've ever had questions for any of us, they can be silly, they can be about our writing or whatever, just put them in the chat. And remember, the more you chat, the more chances you have to be chosen to be one of our, or the lucky gift card winners. So now I want to switch gears again and talk a little bit about what's going to be going on in 2022 for the Boozy Book Broads. We are going to, for the sake of keeping things fresh for ourselves and keeping things interesting for us, as well as for our lovely, lovely viewers, we're going to be changing things up. We're finalizing all the details right now. We're getting things going, but instead of focusing on just like one author a month, sometimes we're going to have panels of authors all, focused on a specific topic, or they all have books coming out during the same month. And that's going to be really cool. But we also want to talk to, the quote unquote book influencer. So like Maureen was actually kind of going to be our first foray into that. And like I said, we're going to give you an update on what's coming in January with her and another guest, and it's going to be really fun. And then I also want to give a really big save the date shout out because in April, at the end of April, it's the Chicago North Spring Fling Conference. It's April 28th to April 30th, downtown Chicago. I mean, it's like, I wish I had like a siren going off because all three of the Boozy Book Broads are going to be at this conference live in person. It's going to be so fun.
I'm so proud of myself. So I did like an Amazon interview thing yesterday. And after the chat was over, I was talking to the woman who runs it. And I was telling her about it. She signed up for the conference. I was like,
I have to say, I mean, Chicago North is, if you are an aspiring writer, or if you are just a romance super fan, it's a really great conference to go. And
it's actually in the city this time. A lot of times it's usually in the suburbs. This time it is downtown on the river, like on the new Chicago riverfront.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be cool. And so, yeah, and Vanessa Riley and Kit Roca are the headliners. And that's going to be really cool. There's a big signing on that, usually on that Saturday, but I don't know if the full schedule is up yet. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're doing a panel, I know, and then we're hopefully going to be having a really fun live broadcast. We're working on kind of a live event of the Boozy Book Broads, like all in person. Like we're all going to spontaneously combust. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be great. And then finally, the last kind of update that I wanted to give is that we are also going to give ourselves some breaks in 2022. We are going to be kind to ourselves, and if we need to take off a month, we're going to take off a month, but we will obviously let people know everything in advance. It's so easy to get virtual event fatigue, I think, on both sides of it, the people who are doing the events, putting on the events, and the people who are watching and attending
Can I
them.
just say really quick how grateful I am to those of you that are here tonight that have been with us every Friday that we've done a Boozy Book Broads, as many as you can be or have been. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you so much, and hope to see you in 2022. Robert, Janelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's game time, and Melanie's taking over. Angelina and I have no idea what's going to happen. So
yeah, neither do I. No. So I actually came up with a couple of it. I was looking for, I had this game from when I was teen, and it's somewhere in my house, and it's so much fun. It's like called True Colors, and it's about like figuring out which of your friends is like the most of these different things. Couldn't find the game. So I've had a couple of things. I found this old 'Tis the Season Christmas trivia set. So we could, but what I want to do is I have some fun questions we can do first. And those of you watching and listening, you can join in on these questions and answer them as well. So my first question is, if you had to spend a only one bed experience, or if you want to keep it clean, a kiss under the mistletoe, with anyone, any celebrity, who would it be?
any celebrity.
Well, I think I know Angelina's answer, but we'll see.
You can't see it. I have like 2 photos back here of me mimicking my romance covers with actor Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. And you can go to the Supernatural conventions and pay them an obscene amount of money, and they will pose pretty much however you want. I mean, there's there's a level of how much you're going to ask for and whatever, but I've essentially have 2 photos of him looking at me passionately. So I feel like that's as close as I'm actually going to get, but it's still like pretty good. So yeah, I think he would be a very nice mistletoe person.
Okay, all right. So over that or under the mistletoe, however you want to take it.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think my go-to answer is always Michael B. Jordan.
Oh my goodness! Did you see the new movie?
I know. I've seen the trailer. I'm very excited. I think he's very, very handsome. My husband can probably hear me saying all of this. It's great. Cool.
So
no, he knows that that's like my person. So
he looks good. New movie from the clips I saw, but it's like you already know that it's gonna end in tragedy. Like there's no. I'm like, nope. Like I won't be watching that because I just won't be able to handle it. But so Angelina, I don't know, can you drop in the chat if our listeners want to answer who would be their person to kiss under the mistletoe or spend a night of only one bed with. So for me, oh my goodness. So I guess I would have to say. And so Adriana Herrera's new, she just released it. It's called The Toy King, I think. The cover, okay, that had Jason Momoa vibes, in my opinion. I felt like it had some Jason Momoa vibes. And I was like, all right, I could ride that sleigh. So for me, I think it would be Jason Momoa. He just like, I have unashamedly watched his workout. Raven's picking Jason Momoa too. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, just, yes.
That is awesome.
Okay. So my, so Janelle is having a threesome with Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan, apparently. So one that needs to keep under the mistletoe. So my next question, I moderated a recent, for Love Sweet Arrow, I did Romance Unwrapped. So if you didn't watch the live, you can catch the replay anytime. It was with several authors of recent holiday romances. It was super fun. So I'm stealing a question from that. So if you had to do holiday karaoke and get up and sing a song, what would your choice be for holiday karaoke?
Danielle?
I think it would have to be All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Oh, I gotta do that.
So, I mean, I was just talking about this on the Fresh Fiction podcast. I 100% listen to the Mariah Carey Christmas album like year round, and I'm not kidding. Like I was turned on. It's so good.
My little goth 13-year-old, like she still loves that Mariah Carey song. Like, like
so good.
She hates everything else, but she can't help herself. She loves that song. So actually, so my novella I wrote for Jingle Balls, there is a very some very naughty things happen while the hero is singing that song.
He's able to continue singing though. How naughty was it?
Well, so there is a teaser we call it foreshadowing, where they're having a snack together and he's humming while he's eating, and he's like, I just hum when I'm eating something I really like.
Robert said he will be safe and say his wife.
That's
yeah, that's very, very smart, Robert.
Hall passes exist for a reason.
Only one bed scenario. Yeah, songs. Raven J would sing Mariah or Please Come Home for Christmas by the Eagles. Janelle would read Santa Baby in the style of Eartha Kitt. Yeah,
so good.
That one's awesome.
Santa Baby versions. Janelle, I'm with you. Eartha Kitt's is the best. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I can't sing, so I would say like, what's the one with the bells?
Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Maybe that one.
Yeah, like any of them that people are okay with murdering. I do have a couple of writing questions from our audience. I don't know if we're interested.
We can jump into those now. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Robert asked I'm trying to find it again. Robert had asked a really fascinating question.
He had asked, genres, like if we weren't writing romance, what genres would we write?
Yeah.
So I can answer.
Yeah, that was Janelle's question, actually. Robert's was
okay. Can you find Robert's? I know I saw that question pop up, so I'll answer it quick, and then you guys.
Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Raven's question. What book do you really want to write but are hesitant to dive into?
Okay, that's different than the one I found.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great question because I had this, like, you know, the story that felt really close to my heart, and I wrote it. It's why the ending is so hard. But this After Hours on Milagro Street is about, to an extent, it's about my family and about growing up third generation Mexican American in small town Kansas. And so people, I've told the story before, but people always ask me, where are you from? And I say Kansas, and they say, no, where are you originally from? And I say Kansas, because this idea of what diversity is in our country, and what, you know, especially if you're Latinx, it's like
well, I think that clip like of Tom from Parks and Rec, like the same thing, like when the people like ask him, where are you from? I'm North Carolina. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's getting accustomed to that, and especially with the way people of color are being treated in our country right now, and all kinds of things. So I didn't know, and I, quite honestly, the book's, you know, almost done, and I still don't know if I was ready to write it. So let's hope for the best. Yeah, I was very hesitant, but it was the next book that was coming to me, and everyone thought it was a good idea, and so we wrote it. Yeah, Janelle asked, what genres would you write if you didn't write romance, and why? So either of those questions.
The question you were saying that Raven asked was, what is the book that you're afraid to write? Is that the question?
Yeah, essentially, dive into, but are hesitant. Oh yeah, really want to write, but are hesitant to dive into.
So I have a woman's fiction story that is kind of circling in the background that I will get to eventually, because it deals with harder issues and I'm just not ready to handle it yet. And it's based off of experiences from someone that I know. So it deals with, so it's like someone who becomes a widow and a single mom in their late 20s unexpectedly, and then how they figure out their life after that. So we will see.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I'm trying
Danielle or something.
Yeah, I mean, I love historical romance, and you know, especially reading Black Love Matters, it's a genre that for a long time, up until relatively recently, like you just did not see Black people in. and people of color in, you know, in the larger scope of things. And, you know, but the fact that there are writers kind of like Beverly Jenkins and Alyssa Cole and Piper Hughley and other writers to do that. So, but I feel like I get both too meticulous when I research things, but I'm also kind of lazy. So I'm not sure. That's also like why I'm scared to do it. Because I'm like, I'm gonna home in on like one thing, and then I'll be like, well, I don't really need to know any of this, so I'm just not gonna write about it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like triple fold right there. Like I have all these caveats, and I just need to, you know, reading Black Love Matters was like, you know, I do have this idea. Maybe I should actually try to do it at some point. So yeah, historical at some point. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then the other question was other genres, and so I mean, I think I want to write other things, but they're all kind of romance adjacent, like paranormal romance. Like, so most of the stuff I want to write is pretty romance adjacent. I want that HEA, people. I need to have me.
I agree. Yeah, I would love to do like kind of, I don't know, paranormal or maybe like a fantasy at some point. But again, it's like the world building. You have to figure out everything. And like I said, I'm both meticulous and lazy, so.
My next traditional book is not out till early 2023. So 2022 is going to kind of be my year to play. I have a couple of things out under my real name in anthologies, but I also, depending on how things happen, I might have a few things out under some pseudonyms. So we shall see.
Okay. That's great. Okay. We are coming up to 8 o'clock. So
flew by.
I think we've gone through most of the questions that I saw come through.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love how Robert's like, no karaoke for me. Like, so Robert, like if we ever were out somewhere, I would take that as like the biggest challenge in the world.
And Melanie will make you do it. Like if there's someone who's going to make you, it's Melanie. So let's take a few minutes. We're going to remind everyone to head to lovesweetarrow.com. Of course, if you can support your local bookstores or your local romance-friendly indie, please do so at this time of year. We should probably say a big thank you to Love Sweet Arrow for hosting on their YouTube page. We've had so much fun this year doing Boozy Book Broads, so it's been really great. Reminder that the merch of the month are the Moonlight Ridge Trilogy box, which is on sale for $24 with the code BBBDEC2021. In January, we're making it a double. You see, I found another drink pun to put in here, you guys. We are rescheduling our chat with Maureen Lee Linker of Entertainment Weekly for a very special Boozy Book Broads brunch, because we love alliteration. It's going to be on Saturday, January 8th at noon Central. The Eventbrite for that just went up on Love Sweet Arrow's Eventbrite page, and we will be promoting that probably post holidays. We will be posting about it on our social media and everything like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk a lot about, I think, favorites of 2021, because this was supposed to be this episode. But hopefully we can pick her brain about what's coming in 2022 as well. And then on our regularly scheduled third Friday, January 21st, we're chatting with Shiloh Watson of BuzzFeed. If there is a romance to be read list on BuzzFeed, any features or interviews or cover reveals on BuzzFeed, Shiloh is the one who's doing it. She really has her fingers on the pulse. She gets pretty much every romance novel in publishing sent to her. So we're definitely going to be talking to her about what's coming in 2022. And then we will, of course, keep you all up to date on what we have planned. It's going to be a fun year. We've got some things in the works. So we're really excited. Let's raise a glass. Cheers to everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight, everybody. And we will see you next month. Happy New Year, everybody.
And let's pick a winner real quick. I'm sorry, don't go away. Don't go away, everybody. Let me pick a winner real quick.
Forget this. This is the thing I forget every time.
Oh, we get to pick our winner. Yeah.
Yeah, one second. Robert. Yay! Robert, please send us an email. I think I might already have it in there, and if not, one of us do. But Yeah, but it will make sure it happens if you send an email to boozybookbroads@gmail.com, and we will get you a $10 gift certificate. Thank you, Robert, always for being so engaged. Thank you to everyone who stays so engaged and shows up every week and or every month. And yeah, we really appreciate the support.
Awesome. All right, everybody. We will see you all soon.